Morning and welcome to the annual general meeting of the Caterham and Lotus 7 Club. For those who don't know me, my name's Richard Nichol. I am the current chairperson of the club, and that's why I have this onerous task of talking to you this morning. Not the most exciting thing we've ever offered to members, an AGM, but vitally important to make sure, quite rightly, that the club is run on behalf of us, by us, for all members. In terms of opening remarks and a few elements to consider, first I'd just like to say I'm joined this morning by the directors of the club, who are Stu Forshaw, Alan Tuff, Alex Tigwell, Martin Phillips, James Batchelor, Phil Scown, Simon Houghton, Robert Jacobs, and normally we'd have Simon Maitland, but sadly he can't be with us today. In terms of how we will run this, there are 7 items on the agenda. We now move on to the most exciting part of today's AGM, which is your ability to listen to me tell you what a wonderful time we've had in the last year. So if I can ask John, please, to put up my presentation, I will bore you for about the next 5 to 10 minutes. So John, can I see my presentation, please? So ladies and gentlemen, let me just give you a quick run through of what we feel collectively has been the highlights, challenges, and in fact the successes of the last year. Next slide, please, John. Primarily, I'm starting as I finished last year, which is by paying huge thanks and a huge contribution made by the volunteers that run this club. It still takes over 100 people, if you count them all, to make sure that the club ticks. And I want to formally use today as the AGM to thank everyone who has made that contribution. Particularly, we have a couple of individuals who are stepping down this year, although they continue to be active in the club. Graham Howard is stepping down as the Speed Championship lead to be replaced by Andy Skinner. And we thank Graham for all his efforts for what has been and continues to be a very successful element that we run as the club. Also, Lawrence Walters. Lawrence Walters left as the ESV manager. Quite an onerous task, as we now consider, believe more than we had previously. We wish both Lawrence and we wish Graham the very best. Of course, we need a constant feed of volunteers, and as it says on this slide, we do need you. So if you want even to contribute a small amount or a great amount, we would love to hear from you. No matter what you think you can do, it's amazing how people have contributed in areas they didn't think that they were particularly interested in. So I'll leave it at that, but thank you to all our volunteers. Next slide, please, John. Reflections on the year. Well, we started last year, you'll recall, with a new name. And that new name has indeed proved to be a catalyst for a whole host of things that the club has now done this year and which are new. We've worked much closer with our manufacturer, and as it says there, factory visits started, and we're looking to try and maintain factory visits going forward. We also had a number of joint track days to supplement and support our own very successful track day program, and a number of VIP attendances at race meetings, the Caterham race meetings, all of which added value to the things that we could do. And we certainly expect, and our aim is to do more, not only as ourselves, but with Caterham as our partner, and also we as partners to Caterham. Next slide, please, John. And the club events, we get more and more this year, broadly, depending on how you count, but we were talking about 50 events up to 2022, 2021, 2022. We counted nearly 65 events throughout the year. We had a hugely successful Speed Championship, and the 2 main ones there show what most people saw as a real season opener, which was the Fish and Chip Run, which again goes from strength to strength. And I thank all those who are involved in putting that event together. Probably I'm willing to be challenged and told I'm wrong. Probably the largest gathering we had of sevens in 2022, with a significant number, as it says there. Next slide, please, John. No excuse for carrying on about saying about even more events. I think what we were particularly proud of is new events. So the big picnic that took place in Cheshire, which brought together and offered people a different experience in the club, more of a family atmosphere, plenty to do, more chance to chat about topics other than camshafts and Avon tyres. The Seven Gathering at Bewley, which was at the end of the season, one could say at the beginning of October, was also a big success. And the British Motor Show, which was where Caterham were one of the largest, if not the main manufacturer, a very different experience to what some people might recall. The British Motor Shows that took place at Earl's Court. It's now very much on the calendar, and we're looking forward to growing with Caterham our presence there for the next year. All mightily exciting opportunities that will be there in 2023. Next slide, please, John. And communications. We take for granted low flying, but it still is a quality magazine. It still generates a lot of interest from others outside of the club. And in this virtual world, it's still appreciated. I see this time and time again by many people who look forward to receiving it. Of course, we moved to paper-friendly envelopes this year, a simple step, but one that took a lot more time and complexity than we thought it would, but has gone down well with members. And in particular, I'll pay credit to John Martin, who took over at a very short notice, generating our social media feed. People will recall social media is an animal that needs consistent feeding, but I'm good to see that on the popular platforms, we had nearly a third increase, 36% increase in the number of post views that we had, and you can see a number of them there. Instagram, which is not an area that we've used, but again is growing in popularity. We doubled our increase in users, 125% increase. So we continue to grow, and we continue to use social media and gain a great deal of success from it. And we get a lot of positive feedback. It takes a lot of work to do it. And as I said earlier, the more that people can do to help us with that, then the more positive engagement we can use these tools for the purpose of communicating with you, the members. Next slide, please. Charity. Something I suppose I'm individually quite proud of, and both Mo Steer and Alan Tuff deserve full credit for. I won't go through, as I've shown on the right there, all the things that people have done this year. I will notably highlight Jeff and Amir, who run the London Marathon. But it just shows, if you ask members which charity they would wish to support, and in this case, prostate cancer research was the vote winner, people will actually put their shoulder to the wheel and they will actually deliver. And we've had significant success, not least in terms of the number of the amount of money that we've actually raised. Thank you to everybody who gave money this year. I look forward to you giving money next year. And quite frankly, PCR continues to be a very close partner with us and have attended quite a number of our events to support. So thank you very much there. Next slide, please. The biggest risk that the leadership team took last year, both in terms of practical and financial risk, was the fact that we retired the event support vehicle. Instead, we replaced it with the structures that you see in front of you, modern, high quality, highly adaptable infrastructure that we can move around the country. Tim Pemberday has taken on the role of managing this for us, and we've done a number of trials, not least Castle Combe, Tatton Park, and also the Silverstone Classic. It's not gone perfectly, but if I'm honest, it's a lot more successful than we thought it could potentially be. And we're looking forward to developing that concept over the next year so that we can actually make more use of it. We've got more events, and that was the biggest issue with the equipment support vehicle, is we couldn't deliver support to multiple events on the same weekend. We now have a capability of doing that by using this modular system. And I show there the new stickers for the club. Very interesting, and more importantly, a worthy addition to our merchandise range. But again, the merchandise range will hopefully grow over the next year. We need your ideas, so please don't be shy in telling us what you think we ought to be offering people. Next slide, please. Tours, when we asked people what they wanted going forward, one of the big ticks was people saying they wanted us to organise tours. We managed to organise one major tour last year, which was Sevens in Scotland. Considerable success, a lot of people, 21 people, mainly couples. Thoroughly enjoyed, a lot of positive feedback, and we want to try and do more in 2023. You should already know that Spa and Le Mans Classic are open for bookings, and through our tours lead Roger Needham, we're hoping, of course, that we can even offer further opportunities in 2023. Just watch and look. And the next slide, please. So that brings very quickly a conclusion of my review of the year. Just focus for a moment on the left-hand photograph there, because for me, as your chair, this sums up the spirit of the club. And I am a member of a number of clubs, so I can compare what we offer to others. This is a little vignette from the tour we had in Scotland, whereby one of the members actually threw a drive belt at the bottom of the Applecross Pass. Normally that would mean the AA or the RAC in a very painful and unfortunate long wait. Within the best part of 15 minutes, there were 5 other drivers there. The bonnet was off. Every conceivable tool was offered as a manner of help. And as if by magic, another member turned up with a replacement belt. So within, I might exaggerate a little, but certainly within 30 minutes, it was all fixed. He was on the road and we were all driving over Applecross Pass. For me, that's the spirit of the club. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what car you drive, doesn't matter the age of it, doesn't matter what your religious or political beliefs happen to be. Everybody rallies around and everybody looks after oneself. And to me, ultimately, that's what the club is all about. So I will end there, and thank you very much for watching.